I should have left everything to sleep, including myself. They told me no one had rented the place in years, that the trails to it weren't even maintained anymore. But the key still worked, and the fireplace still remembered how to warm. I came for silence, for data. The forest here goes untouched from dusk till dawn, and for a biologist trying to study low-light species, this cabin, this lake, was a perfect test bed. Or so I thought. It took only 2 nights before I stopped sleeping fully. Not from fear, not even from sounds, but because of the way the lake looked at night. I say looked, not looked like, because it never quite reflected what it was supposed to. It mirrored my cabin just fine. The trees, the sky. But every time I stood at the edge, I could swear it captured me differently. Sometimes I was standing too straight, or my reflection blinked when I didn't. Or worst, it smiled when I didn't. On the 3rd night, I set up my field camera on the porch, facing the lake. A basic night vision motion-triggered setup, just in case I caught an owl or a fox. But when I reviewed the footage the next morning, I saw something else. Me, standing by the lake at 2:41 a.m. Only I had no memory of getting up. And I wasn't just standing. I was speaking to myself, whispering. I isolated the audio. It was faint, barely above static, but enhanced. You could hear my own voice, fragmented. You were already here. Then silence. I blinked at the footage for minutes. I watched the video loop. My body posture was off, slightly tilted, left shoulder too high, and the head mine kept twitching in these small, unnatural movements, as if the reflection had learned motion, but not purpose. The next night, I locked the door. From the inside, bolted windows, left the camera running. I forced myself to sleep. But around 3:12 a.m., I woke to a sound that didn't come from the cabin. It came from outside, from the lake. It was my voice, not calling, not screaming, but speaking. Calmly, repeating the same phrase over and over. You were always here first. I didn't move. I just lay there, frozen. I don't remember falling asleep again, but when I checked the camera the next morning, it had captured 2 hours of footage. I pressed play. At 2:39 a.m., the porch light flickers on, triggered by motion. My figure walks into frame, but this time I'm wearing the wrong shirt. I paused the video, rewound, watched again. Same height, same hair, same scar on the left brow. But the flannel shirt, I hadn't worn that in months. I checked the closet. It wasn't even in the cabin. In the video, I, or whatever it was, walked to the lake's edge, looked down, tilted its head in short, erratic bursts. Then it turned toward the camera and smiled, not wide, not forced, but too calm, too certain. Then it spoke. That one's still sleeping. I'll wait. And just like that, it turned and walked into the woods, out of frame. I replayed the clip again and again, slowed it down, looked for signs of editing, compression artifacts. But no, it was real. The camera had captured something, Someone, me but not me. And in the reflection on the lake behind him, there was no cabin, just darkness, and a face watching him from beneath the surface. That night, I gave in. I set the camera to record live. No motion trigger. I wore a plain white shirt, something I hadn't worn since college, just to be sure. I stood in front of the lake, in the center of the frame, directly facing the water. My hands never moved. My lips stayed sealed. 30 minutes. No sound, no movement. I returned to the cabin, reviewed the footage. My heart was already racing before I hit play. And then there I was. But in the footage, I was speaking. Mouth moving, head nodding, gesturing slowly with one hand. The real me, I swear, had stood silent. But this version, the one in the recording, said something else entirely. You left me in the lake. I've waited long enough. My jaw dropped. I scrubbed through the timeline. Every time I blinked in real life, the recording skipped the blink. Every second I was still, the recording added a twitch. Like the reflection couldn't bear to be still. Like it needed to move, even if I didn't. And the reflection, no matter the angle, never turned its back to the water. It was using my face, my voice, my hesitation. But it wasn't me. And the worst part, I noticed it only after freeze-framing the footage. Behind me, in the lake's reflection, there were two shadows, one standing, one submerged, eyes open, mouth moving, syncing perfectly with the voice on the tape. I stayed one more night, not because I wanted to, but because I needed to know which one of us would leave. I set up every camera. I had one facing the lake, one pointed at my bed, one outside the cabin. I left the door unlocked this time, not out of carelessness, out of permission. I sat on the porch from midnight to 2 a.m. Nothing moved, but I heard it from the trees, breathing, not heavy, not fast, just steady, like someone was waiting for their turn. At 2:41 a.m., the lake shimmered, but there was no wind. The reflection showed the cabin, showed the trees, but it didn't show me. I was standing at the water's edge, but the reflection was already walking away, deeper into the woods, silently, slowly, as if it knew I couldn't follow. I ran back inside, reviewed the porch camera. It showed me sitting still until 2:43. Then I stood, walked to the lake, and said aloud, I'm tired of returning. Let this be the last. Except I never said those words. Not once. And in the footage, I never came back. But I'm still here. Aren't I? I checked the interior camera. It showed me sleeping through the night. Never moved. Never left the bed. So who walked out? Who spoke? I checked the third camera, the one aimed at the lake. And in it, there were two figures. One standing at the edge, silent. The other inside the lake, staring back, face breaking through the surface like ice cracking in reverse. The one in the water whispered, he left. But I stayed. I've always been the one who stayed. Then the figure on land leaned forward, lowered his hands into the lake, and the reflection pulled him in. effortlessly, like gravity reversed. The water went flat, still. And now, every night since, I've seen the same thing replayed, even with the cameras off. I sit by the lake. I watch myself approach, but I never reach the water. I just fade. And every morning, the camera shows no one on the porch, no one in the bed, no one, except a voice in the final clip, my voice, or something close. This cabin isn't haunted, it's remembering.